Doing gang things, living super clean. Daddy came up. Can't control us. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you, you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters, got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy. Could've turned out like your homeboy. Been on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had goal. Brand new you on the old time road. Take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't teach, screaming bump these hoes. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty rolls. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't throwing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that man? This real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom while you peek these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing cane things. Living super clean. Daddy came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause you know he got a good thing. I submit and I cook and I clean and I never hold back on that pop, I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a ring. All praises to the most high, let it sing. A real man able, sister never came. And I ain't going nowhere, this is not a game. Look at you, girl, you're lonely right now. Settling for bums instead of in the most high. He provide and protect so he get our respect. And he leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Seminole. Be his help me, shout it, let the silly go.
1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. I'm working on my little DJ skills. Yeah. All right, y'all. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Yes, I have to get used to the new day. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope y'all had a great week. I hope the rain has not bummed you out too much. I saw somebody complaining about the rain on Threads, and I was like, don't you worry. It's gonna be hot soon enough. We're all gonna be bone dry in the state of Georgia soon enough. We will not have any rain to worry about. Hope you all had a great day. As you can see from the thumbnail here, I will be reacting to I'm pretty sure, I know it's viral in my circles, The bridge video, titled Muslim, I think it was Jews versus Christians versus Hebrew Israelites. Yeah, and just since I checked out that channel, like they have other videos with kind of similar content. So yeah, that was pretty good. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch it. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, please do. After this, you can go back and watch the original one. But as I was watching it, just from an Israelite point of view, and this is nothing, personal towards those sisters. I don't know, what it is to be on a stage like that. Like I love game shows. Like I love Jeopardy and I love Wheel of Fortune. And people always say, yeah, it's easy to play it at home in the living room. But when you're like there in front of people, it might be different. So, anything could have happened for whatever reason. But I just wanted to go back and just kind of review it, especially for those of us who may have some questions. I know there are a lot of people who are in the church or who are coming from the church and who have questions about Israelite doctrine. And I just wanted to kind of answer some of those questions using the Bible, of course. We're going to be using the Bible to answer some of those questions. What I did want to, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, that must not be important. All right, so let's go ahead and get started because it is a lot, and I know I'm late already, so please excuse me for being late. We had a kid come by unexpectedly. I told her to call her dad. No, she decided to pop up. You know how it is when kids want something. A phone call is not good enough. So she decided to pop up on us, which is always a blessing, but it made me late for my prayer call, and in turn, I'm late here. I'm sorry, but I am here now, okay? Okay. Go ahead and get your Bibles. Now, I do have Bible Gateway. I will be sharing my screen, okay? So if you want to take notes, or if you want to go along in your own Bible, as well, that's fine. Now, me personally, I do read the King James Version. That's just me personally. But for purposes of everyone being able to understand, we're going to be reading from the NIV for now. Please feel free to chime in if you have any questions about anything that I'm saying, or you need me to further expand on a point. Okay? All right. And I ain't bring no fan down here. It's hot down here. Okay, so the first question that was asked in the video, faith and ethnicity are deeply connected. Faith and ethnicity are deeply connected. Let me get ready to share my screen. Faith and ethnicity are deeply connected was the first question. Now, hold on one second. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. Faith and ethnicity are deeply connected. This is the first question. And so before I go to answer this question, let me explain, okay, the way I read the question. Because when I was discussing this with my husband yesterday, that kind of came up like, well, what do you mean by faith? What do you mean by ethnicity? Like, what do you mean by that? So the way I took this question, because it was a multi-faith panel that they were asking, I took this to mean any faith. So you could be talking about Buddhists, you could be talking about Hindus, Muslims, Christians, whatever other Sikhs, whatever other faiths there are with whatever ethnicity. Okay, so let's go to the Bible first, and then I'll kind of explain my answer, because my answer was yes. My answer was yes. Okay. So let's go to Genesis 12:1. Genesis 12:1. Let's give me the full chapter. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. So the call of Abraham, Genesis 12:1. The Lord has said to Abram, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great and you will be a blessing. Okay. So here we see when the Most High is calling Abram away from his father's house, away from his country. Okay, see, this is why I like the King James version sometimes. Okay, because in the King James version, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house and into the land where I will show you, and I will make of thee a great nation. Okay, so he's already saying, hey, leave your father's house, leave your nationality, leave everything you know behind, and I will make you a nation. Okay, so biblically, that's already showing that in order for the Most High to procreate his new belief, and I'm only saying new because we're still in Genesis in the Bible here, okay? In order for the Most High to procreate or to continue his plan, he has to separate Abram from the people and the nation that he was born into. Angelina, shalom and shalom, sis. And so biblically, that is why I would answer this question as yes. Not only that, I do have another precept. Let's go to Micah 4 and 5. Okay, and in Micah 4 and 5, all the nations may walk in the name of their gods, but we will walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever. So even right here, we see nations and gods being connected and being mentioned. On a secular note, if you look at every other faith system besides American Christianity and Catholicism, which are kind of the same, every other faith system is tied to a nationality, and the God of that faith system looks like the people of that nationality. If you were to meet a person and they told you they were Buddhist, you would not be wrong to assume that they are Chinese. If you met a person and they told you that they practice the Hindu faith, you would not be wrong to assume that they are Indian, Asian Indian. If you met a person and they told you that they were Catholic, you would not be wrong to assume that they are Spanish or Italian. The only faith that is not connected to an ethnicity is what we have come to understand as American Christianity. And what I would like to note, not trying to be provocative here, but I would like you to note that even American Christianity, or even our understanding of Catholicism for that matter, comes out of a Bible that was written about an Afro-Asiatic people, but then the God of that Bible was replaced with a white-skinned European. So if faith isn't tied to ethnicity, then how come the God of the Bible with the feet of brass and the hair of wool wasn't good enough? How come when Solomon said, I am black and I am comely, when we know that these people were mingling with Africans, so clearly they had to be brown skinned? If faith isn't tied with ethnicity, then how come the brown-skinned God of a brown-skinned people wasn't good enough when it was time to package this up and colonize the world with it? Feel free to chime in at any time. Let me see. Okay, wait, I think I have one more precept. Let me just check. Oh, yes. Okay, this was a good one. Hold on. Definitely want to bring this one out. Exodus 23 and 23 and 24. Yeah, okay. Exodus 23 and 24. My angel will go ahead of you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and I will wipe them out. Do not bow down before their gods or worship them or follow their practices. You must demolish them and break their sacred stones to pieces. So even again, we see the Most High saying you're going to go into these lands with these people and they have their gods. So yes, I don't think you can argue that faith and ethnicity are deeply connected. Okay. Number 2. Numero dos. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you can go live. Turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. I'm sorry, y'all. I was checking my phone. Okay. Number 2, you can convert and fully become part of God's chosen people. You can convert and fully become a part of God's chosen people. My answer to this question is yes. Let me show you why. We're going to go to Exodus 13, 48, and 49. Oh, hold on. Let me erase that one. My bad, y'all. Okay, I'll just do it like this then. Okay, Exodus 38. No, 13. I went to 38. My bad. Okay, Exodus 13. What? Please don't tell me I wrote this down the wrong way. I know I didn't. Oh, my bad. It's Exodus 12. Okay. All right. See? Okay. My bad, y'all. Exodus 12, 48 through 49. Okay. And again, we're answering the question, you can convert and fully become part of God's chosen people. So my first scripture for that is Exodus 12. Exodus 12. Change my notes here. 12, 48 through 49. A foreigner residing among you who wants to celebrate the Lord's Passover must have all the males in his household circumcised. Then he may take part like one born in the land. No uncircumcised male may eat. The same law applies both to the native born and to the foreigner residing among you. And in the King James version, okay, in the KJV, verse 49 says, one law shall be to him that is homeborn and unto the stranger that sojourneth among you. Okay. And then I have another one. Let me just verify it before I say it out loud, even though I know y'all can see what I'm typing. Numbers 15. Yes. Okay. Numbers 15, 13 through 15. Numbers 15, 13 through 15. Everyone who is native born must do these things in this way when they present a food offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. For the generations to come, whenever a foreigner or anyone else living among you presents a food offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, they must do exactly as you do. The community is to have the same rules for you and for the foreigner residing among you. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. You and the foreigner shall be the same before the Lord. You and the foreigner shall be the same before the Lord. The same laws and regulations will apply both to you and to the foreigner residing among you. I don't like it's there. It's there. You follow the laws and you're just like one of us. And he said it multiple times. So again, yeah, You follow the laws, you're just like one of us. You same with the same rights and responsibilities as a homeborn Israelite. It's just like when people immigrate to America and they take the citizenship test and they learn all the American things and the American laws and they agree to abide by the American laws. Okay, well, now you have full rights of American citizenship. Where do you think that these governments got their ideas from, if not from the Bible? Come on, like, some things are just evident. Okay, I'm sorry. All right. So, yes, you can convert and fully become part of God's chosen people. Okay. Number 3, Jesus is the only path to salvation, or Yahushua, or Christ, the Messiah. For these intents and purposes, will be used. Those names will be interchangeable. And I do that because I don't want to get caught up on name translations. I'm not saying that the name of Christ is not a precious name. I'm not saying that. But again, the goal is to be all things to all people, right? So that we can win some for the cause of Christ. I don't want to offend over something that's so, I don't want to offend over something that's not pertinent to salvation. We understand that we serve a Most High and we serve him in the name of his son. Through his son, we follow the example of his son. His son was the sacrifice for our sins. So as long as we understand this principle, then okay. So if you hear me say Jesus or you hear me say Christ, you might hear me say Yahushua, I'm speaking about the Son of the Most High. Just want to clear that up. So is Jesus the only path to salvation? John 14:6 said, Jesus answered, I'm the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Let's go to Matthew 11. Let's see the full chapter because I think I wanted to go a little bit before. Okay. Matthew 11:27 says, all things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. You literally cannot know the Most High without his Son. Y'all read it right there. No one knows the Son except the Father, right? You can't know the Son except by the Father, but no one knows the Father except the Son, and to those whom the Son chooses to reveal him. So me and him and only him is what he's saying. And then only if I want to tell you. Okay. I try not to assume that everyone has the same kind of, I don't want to say education, but understanding. Even when people claim to be Christians or even when people claim to be Israelites, I used to think that meant that, okay, so you're saying that you have the same type of basic biblical understanding, right? We have at least the same foundation. But as I found out, no, that is not what that means at all. Okay. So John 10:1-7. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. Acts 4:12, salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. Let's read the full chapter just in case. Okay, so let's start at 11 just so we know who we're talking about. Jesus is the stone you builders rejected, which has become the cornerstone. Salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. Okay, that's it. Let me get my good sis precept. John 10, 1 through 7. And then, you know what? It's probably a good thing I wasn't on this panel, because I couldn't have sat there and just listened to people mislead people away from Christ. And they were saying that, like, oh, Jesus isn't the only way to the Father. What? I wouldn't have been able to sit there and take that. But okay, John 10, 1 through 7. Very true. I tell you, Pharisees, anyone who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climbs in some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has bought out all his own, he goes on ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice. Jesus used this figure of speech, but the Pharisees did not understand what he was telling them. Therefore, Jesus said again, very truly, I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. Thank you for that precept. That is beautiful. I'm going to put that in my notes. I'm going to write that down. Yes, I'm collecting precepts around here. Thank you so much, Ange. I appreciate that. That is an awesome precept. Okay, so okay, and then I have one more. 1 Timothy. Yeah, look, I if I'm answering questions about the Bible, I'm only answering with Bible. I can expound upon it with other sources. All praises. I like history a little bit, so I got a little history up in here. So in some cases, yes, I am able to expound upon with secular sources, but my foundation for my answer is coming from the Bible straight up. One thing that disturbed me about the Jewish girls was that they were quoting what their rabbis told them. And that's what the one girl kept saying. Well, the rabbis have studied and the rabbis have argued. And it's like, girl, you never picked up a Bible for yourself? You just going on what somebody else told you? Very indicative of what we do here in America. But what's so crazy is y'all will have the Bible sitting right there, like on your nightstand. The Bible will be in the house. You just won't read it. Okay, so 1 Timothy 2, 5 through 6. For there is one God and one mediator between God and mankind, the man Christ Jesus, who gave himself as a ransom for all people. This has now been witnessed to at the proper time. There's no other way to the Father but through Christ. That's it, period. And I want to say this because there was a comment made like, oh, all the gods are the same God. If your God is telling me that I don't need Christ to get to him, then we're not talking about the same person. We're not talking about the same person. My child brought her friend over here today, right? If said friend was to see me out in the street, she would be like, ain't you Chloe's mom? Because that's how she knows me. She knows me as Chloe's mom. So if I tell her, no, I'm not Chloe's mom, then I'm not me. I am not the person that she thought that I was, because that is how she identifies me. Aren't you Chloe's mom? So if I go to your God and your God is not the Father of Christ and I don't need Christ to get to your God, then he is not the God of the Bible. We are not talking about the creator of heaven and earth. We are talking about your false idol. We're not talking about the same God. And I need for us to start differentiating that. I need for us to stop letting people just put all kind of labels on the Most High God. No, he is the Most High, the creator of heaven and the earth. He has a very strict set of laws, and he has a very strict way that you identify him. He does not change. The same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He does not change. So now that it's 2006 and everybody wants to be all interdisciplinary or whatever, now all of a sudden all the gods are the same. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. And that's crazy because the Talmud is literally a book of traditions passed down, which isn't strict. Right? It's what they said. It's what a bunch of old men got together and decided that they were going to write down. Amongst them, they took the Bible and said, "Nah, we don't like this. Let's jazz it up a little bit." I think at one point she said that one of the Jewish girls said that in their Talmud, their prayers are their sacrifices for their sin. To their understanding, them praying has replaced the sacrificial law, not the sacrifice of Christ. Their prayers have replaced the sacrificial law now. Thank you, Father, for loving me first and allowing me to be able to love you back. That's just crazy. Okay. Question 4. The Old Testament laws should still be obeyed in full. Excuse me. Question 4. The Old Testament laws should still be obeyed in full. All right, and let me preface this by saying this, okay? My answer is yes. However, we cannot, or we are no longer obligated to observe the sacrificial law. 1, because we cannot, because we don't have a temple. And 2, we don't have to because Christ was our sacrifice. We just read how he was our ransom and our sacrifice. But let's grab these precepts. Let's grab these precepts so we can lay it all out here. Okay. Matthew 5, 17 through 19. Hold on, let me do a full chapter just in case there was something else I needed to pull up. No, okay. Matthew 5, 17. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so we see here, like, no, Christ came to fulfill the law, that part of our sacrificial law. So we do not have to make sacrifices for our sins anymore, but we are still responsible for the other parts of the law, the dietary law, the moral law, the civil law, the laws that dictate how we treat ourselves, how we treat our families, how we treat each other. You're still responsible for all of that, to the point that if you don't do them and you teach others not to do them, you will be disregarded in heaven. Okay. Romans 3 and 31. 3 and 31. Okay. Do we then, Romans 3 and 31, do we then nullify the law by this faith? Not at all. Rather, we uphold the law. Let me go to the KJV because I think it might have said it a little more directly. Yes, I need glasses. Don't judge me. Okay, Romans 3:31. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. So your faith in Christ does not make the law void. Your faith in Christ, your belief in his sacrifice for your sin, actually upholds the law. So, for those of you who may have been told, because this is what I was told when I came to my parents and told them, like, hey, y'all, I think we're supposed to be keeping the law of the Bible. Like, I don't think the law was done away with. I was told that I was making the resurrection of Christ have no effect, that I was, in fact, voiding the resurrection of Christ because I said we should still keep the law. Actually, I wasn't. Actually, I was trying to uphold the law that Christ had fulfilled. Actually. So, next time somebody try to come at you with that, that's not what that means at all. Tia Yasharala, shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. That's not what that means at all. God forbid. Absolutely. And let me say this. As someone who came from church, grew up in church, and had my own journey into the truth of the Bible, this was a years-long process for me. I studied religions in school. Like, I really wanted to know for myself. Okay. So this was a process for me. So as someone who's went through this journey, I honestly have to tell you guys, if you grew up church going Southern like me, like my husband, there's not really much difference from acknowledging that you're an Israelite, following the law, and what they taught us in church on Sunday. I mean, we don't eat pork. We don't eat shrimp. We have better understandings of how we are to treat each other. Like, if I was to loan my sister money, I'm not going to charge her any usury. Different things like that are highlighted because, we don't hardly read the law in church. So the aspects of the law are brought out. But if you were still living in what we understood as righteousness in church, not really that much of a difference in the lifestyle. It's really not. It's not. I mean, it's not. It's not. And the Bible even tells you that you begin to have a better understanding by keeping the law. And I have to say that that's true. Like, once I started studying the law, and understanding it, it did make the Bible easier to understand, because now I understand why. Now you understand the principle behind why God is saying the things that he's saying, or why is Christ directing the way that he's directing. Once you understand the law, then these things become open to you. And okay. Once you understand and accept the law, now you're accepting the Bible as a whole, and you're not trying to block out one part of it. Because you can't acknowledge me as an adult without having acknowledged my childhood, right? Like, I'm not just here now. I was before. And in order to understand me now, you have to understand who I was before. Okay? So, in order to understand the Most High, you have to understand the law, and you have to understand Christ. They're both parts of him. You can't have one without the other. How is Christ going to be the living word, but you deny the word? Then what are you following? What are you following Christ in doing? Y'all not out here fasting 40 days and 40 nights. What are you following Christ in doing, if not keeping the law? Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Please feel free. I want to hear your feedback. Let me know what y'all think. Put it in the chat. If you're going to tell me off, DM me. I don't like to be embarrassed. All right. Number 5, our last question. Number 5, we know who the descendants of the biblical Israelites are. Oh, wait a minute. Did I finish answering number 4? Oh, wait, I have one more precept for number 4. My bad. 1 John 2:3-5. We know that we have come to know him if we keep his commands. Excuse me. We know that we have come to know him if we keep his commands. Whoever says, I know him, but does not do what he commands is a liar, and the truth is not in that person. Not only are you a liar, honey, but the truth is not in you. But if anyone obeys his word, love for God is truly made complete in them. This is how we know we are in him. Okay? So, yes, we have to keep the law, period. There's no way around it, no ifs, ands, or buts. Where's my producer? I need a fan. Okay, number 5. Question number 5. We know who the descendants of the biblical Israelites are. And y'all might not like my answer to this question. I'm going to say this, okay? There are signs. There are signs. The Bible definitely gives us a way to identify his people. Deuteronomy 28, right? This is our key. This is what we hold fast to. Verse 46, they will be a sign and a wonder to you and your descendants forever. Okay. And then every precept I looked up, it was pretty much this. It was describing a situation, and then it would say, this would be a sign and a wonder. This would be a sign and a wonder. So yes, we have signs upon the children of Israel. Even today. I mean, if you go through Deuteronomy 28, it was not hard for me to see myself in there. I grew up with a single mom. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't hard at all for me to identify myself in that passage. But what I want to say is, in this current day and time, it is hard to look at someone and tell. Just because a Black person, a Black American person is not necessarily suffering like, you know, we consider most Black Americans to suffer, does not mean that they're not Israelites. All praises to the Most High. My husband busts his behind so that my sons can be at home, so that I can be at home, so that they don't have to be subjected to the school system. You know, they are going to, Lord willing, grow up with 2 parents in the home. They already have money. Like, these kids already have money. Okay. So they would not fit what most people would consider the curses. That does not mean that they're not Israelites. Okay. The second thing we have to remember is that interracial breeding is nothing new. Let's look at some of these celebrities, or a lot of these NBA players who the daddy was brown, but the son is in the NBA now and he looks like a white man. What's that white man name? Blake Griffin? Okay, I'm sorry. He's not a white man. His daddy black. But y'all know what he appears to be white. Look at Diana Ross and her children. They appear to be white. Well, no, cancel that, because Diana Ross had kids with a white man, so they weren't Israelites anyway. Okay, so, but what I'm saying is, okay, but even with that, right? Even with that, if a person with white skin were to come to me and to claim that they were an Israelite, it's not my place to tell them that they're not, because we don't know. A lot of people go to that story of the wheat and the tares, but I feel like that story is about good and evil. I don't feel like that's about a mixing of nationalities, because it talks about men who come in to do evil, and we can't just assume that because somebody is not that because they don't look like us, that they're there to do evil. That's not a safe assumption. Okay, which brings me to my point. You can't look at anyone and tell them that they're not an Israelite. I mean, again, I fit the curses. My history fits the curses, but What if it's a white man back in there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if my daddy's daddy? And what's crazy is my dad is dark skinned and his dad is dark skinned. But, you know, it could be, okay, Drake's son, right. That is a white skinned blonde haired baby. But he's still an Israelite if we're using the same signs and wonders. He's still an Israelite. So, you know, again, we cannot tell anyone with any kind of assurity it's not your place. It's not your place because you don't know. You don't even know about yourself. You don't even know about yourself. What if the day come and you call yourself trying to walk in Judah Gate and they be like, nah, get to the back of the line. You a cleaver. Okay, fine. Either way, I just want to make it in, but how embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? So no, we can't do that. And we shouldn't be trying to do that. You finding out that you're an Israelite should not be a exclusionary gang thing. It's not, now it's us or nothing. Like, that's not the way it's supposed to go. We're supposed to live peaceably with all men for as long as possible. We talked about how the foreigner, as long as they keep our laws, they're counted the same as us. They are counted the same as us. That foreigner who wants to come in, who wants to keep our law, you let God be true and every man be a liar. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's definitely about good versus evil. Yeah, I don't like when people try to make that about race and nationality because that's not that's not the deciding factor at all. Nowhere in the Bible does it say stay black and die. Like that's not it's not what it is. It is a bloodline thing, not a complexion thing. Absolutely. And I mean, come on. Like if you're black and you got cousins, aunts, and uncles, I can show you a picture of my mom's family. My mom had 8 brothers and sisters, and all of us nieces and nephews range in complexion from dark brown to very fair skinned. And there's none of my mom's siblings married a white person. They all married other black people of different shades. So we're all of different shades. So, I mean, at what point who decided that they got some kind of x-ray none of us is Cain. None of us is walking around with a mark on us. Like there's not I just wish we could stop letting stuff like this hold us up. You understand what I'm saying? Because this kind of stuff creates tension and it offends. It offends. And what does the Bible say? A brother offended is not easily won, and neither is a sister. And we are offending people on no ground. You are turning people away from Christ on no ground, on some puffed up pride that you want to have. And I get it. I've been black in America or under American rule all my life. I was born in Germany, grew up in Germany until I was like 12. And then we came here to the States permanently. But even in that time, I was on American military base. Well, we wasn't on base, but it was military housing. So it was considered America where we were. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, okay, so when the American military goes and decides they want to invade a place, they will create a military base. And on this military base, American law applies. Okay, and so they will spread the military members out to have enough housing. And wherever that military housing is, this is American land for legal intents and purposes. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say I've been under American rule all of my life. Okay, and I forgot where I was going with that point. I just wanted to prove that. I just wanted to say that. This is why in the land we kept bloodlines on record. Exactly. And that's why we can't find them now. Don't you think it's funny that every other group of people, even the very Irish people who they want to say, we were slaves like y'all, babe, you know you're Irish, right? You know the exact country on that continent that you can go back to. I have no idea where I'm from. You tell me I'm African, but the truth of the matter is that's where you kidnapped me from. Did not originate in Africa. My father, Abraham, actually originated in Ur of the Chaldees, which was in modern day Iraq, Iran, Mesopotamia. You just told me I'm African because that's where you took me from. And that's what's crazy. Like every other nationality wouldn't claim, but babe, you have a nationality. Yo, great-great-grandma and great-great, you know when your family immigrated to this country, your family chose to come here to work as indentured servants, to spend 7 years working so that they could come here and continue to colonize. It's not the same. However, that still doesn't give me any right to look anyone in their face, even if they come from slave owners. And I know y'all gonna hate me for saying that, but even if they come from slave owners, it's not my right to look them in the face and tell them they're not an Israelite. It's not my right. It don't. The Bible don't say nothing about staying black. The Bible don't say nothing about black being a requirement. Yes, the people of the book were black and comely. Yes, they were called Niger. Yes, they lived among the Africans, lived among the Egyptians. And here's another thing. All throughout history, civilizations in particular valued fair skin because it distinguished you so much more from the slaves. Meaning what? The slaves was darker skinned. Like, the frustration, because it's like right there in your face. Why can't you see it? And again, that just leads me back to the question about faith and ethnicity, right? Because we read about people who went through slavery in different kingdoms because of their failure to be obedient. And again, this is why I matched it up with secular history. If you go back through secular history, what was in common about all the slaves? They were dark-skinned. Okay, I'm going to just leave that there. It creates tension and confusion. It does. Unnecessarily. And I never want to be responsible for turning someone away from the Most High because of something stupid like skin color. Now, I want to be clear. We are to be wise because the truth is, serpents among us come in every shade. Okay? They come in every shade. So I'm not saying that again, live peaceably with all men as long as possible. However, my family is black. I choose to support black businesses. My friends are black. My children are black. My car is black. We blackity black over here. And I support black things and black people. That does not mean, though, that I have a hatred for anyone. Okay? I'm not walking up to anyone and calling them an Edomite. I'm not, that's a slur. Okay? You call me an Edomite. Who was I talking to? I was talking to one of the sisters in the group chat because they were throwing that word around in that video. And I said, Edomite is the new N-word. That's a new N-word. Don't walk up to me, call me an Edomite. It's time to fight. My aunt on my Judah side looks like a white lady. I hope she never sees this comment. But it's true. My dad's mom looks like a white-skinned lady. But my dad is darker than me. So again, our complexion has nothing to do with this at all. This is why Paul said what he said in Philippians 3, basically called himself the ultimate Hebrew Israelite, even a Pharisee, named his tribe and all, and said that he counted it all dung for Christ. It does not matter. And here's the thing. We were talking in Bible study, and one of the sisters had asked about preferences according to complexion. Yeah, preferences. I believe that was her question. And I'm gonna tell you right now, my preference is not gonna be a complexion issue. My preference is gonna be a law abiding issue. If I know that you keep the law of Christ, I will prefer you over a person who does not. If I have one loaf of bread left to give, I'm going to keep it to the person who I know follows the law of Christ. Why? Because I know, first of all, because it's what I'm supposed to do. Point blank, period. Okay, it's what I'm supposed to do. But then also, I know that this person is going to love me the way that I have loved them. And when my time of need comes, their hand will be as open to me as my hand was to them. A person who does not keep the law of Christ, I can't speak for that. I don't know how they're going to react. I don't know what guidelines you live by. I don't know what rules you keep. I don't know what you use to dictate your actions. If you're a law keeper and I'm a law keeper and we come up with a squabble, we can go to a law keeper in authority and get some kind of answer. All right. And now if we can't find a way to make this work, okay, well, now you're not one of me. You're over there. But if you're not a law keeper and me and you come up with a problem, what am I gonna who's gonna solve this? Because you don't listen to my God, and I dang sure ain't listening to yours if you have one. So then what do we do? So in those cases, yes, I'm going to prefer my brother and sister who I know also keeps the law. But that's even among Black people. Let's be clear. Because not all Black people keep the law. Not all Black people, not their heart is not toward the Most High. Let me say that. All right. Because with a lot of our brothers and sisters transitioning from the church and coming over into the acknowledgement that they're Israelite and acknowledging that yes, we do have to keep the law, there's still good, pure-hearted people in that bunch. So I would not just exclude someone. I'm very much big on work out your own salvation as long as you're keeping the written parts of the law. I mean, as long as you're not chowing down on shrimp and scallop, work out your own salvation, boo. You can keep your Sabbaths when you want to, as long as you keeping one. Work out your own salvation. But as long as we have an understanding that the law is our goal and our guidelines for our life, then it's me and you. But now, but even in that, there's no hate. It's just a preference. If I got 2 loaves of bread, then I'm gonna give it to both of y'all. But if I only have one, then I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta look out for my brother or my sister in Christ. After my family has eaten, let's be clear about that. Because a lot of y'all know, after my family has eaten, then you got it. Okay. So I think I cover all 5 of those questions. If you want a copy of my precepts, just let me know. I will send them to you. But I really enjoyed that video. I loved the questions. I just wish that the conversation would have been more text-based coming from the Hebrew Israelite corner. And I don't know these sisters personally. This is not any commentary on them at all. I'm just, as a person who was observing it, I felt like this would have been a great opportunity for us as Israelite women to show the world, like, no, we're just as studied as these men. Like, we know how to rightly divide the word of truth. We are not dummies in head wraps. I felt like this would have been a great opportunity to show the world that, and not only that, but to show some Israelite men that as well. Because unfortunately, that is a common belief throughout the Israelite community that, women just shouldn't know the word, and we shouldn't be talking about the Bible, and we shouldn't be teaching, and we shouldn't be this, and we shouldn't be that. No, I'm never going to stand up in front of a group of men to teach the word. But if the stage is set for me to discuss the Bible with a room full of women, I want to be on my P's and study to show thyself approve, a workman who needeth not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, be able to have an answer for the faith for which you contend. I would have been putting the smackdown, book, chapter, verse. I don't know. I just feel like it was a missed opportunity to change the world's perception of us. Because the Christian girls, they came with book, chapter, verse. They did. Even though they were misapplying the scripture that they were using, they still had book, chapter, verse. And what's crazy is if the Israelite women had book, chapter, verse to fight it with, or even knowledge of secular history to answer some of those questions, it would have been a shutdown. It would have been a complete smackdown, especially how you let people who don't read the Bible tell you anything. How? Somebody who don't read the Bible for themselves can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. If we was in court, you wouldn't even be allowed to offer that as testimony because it's hearsay. You didn't even read that yourself. So I just want for my sisters to be equipped with the word. Another reason I want y'all to be equipped with the word is because I know y'all gonna be mad when I say this, so I'm gonna duck down. The other reason I want y'all to be equipped with the words, because y'all be getting with these niggas and letting them change your mind, and that's not cool. That's not cool. Hold on, let me take this off the screen. Yeah, that's not cool. All right. You need to know in your heart and in your mind what you believe without a doubt. And then when you meet a man and he tells you what he believes, you can run that in your spiritual computer, run that by your spiritual ear and see how you feel about this. Is this a man I want leading me? Is he going to lead me in the direction that I believe the Most High wants me to go in my life? If we have children together, can I trust him to raise our children in the ways of the Most High? Can I trust him to when our marriage gets hard, because baby, it will get hard. Can I trust him when our marriage gets hard to still lead us in the ways of the Most High and keep the faith? One thing that I find miraculous about my marriage is even if my husband and I are having a disagreement, we go to our separate corners. And when I pray, it's like the Most High answers my prayers right away. Like my husband will come and say the exact thing that I was talking to the Most High about. I promise you, I could be in there like, this is not fair. I don't like this. Why you get to treat me like this, Lord? I didn't agree to this, da 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 da. And then when me and my husband talk, it's like he was sitting there and he heard my prayer and he was answering every question. It's only because of the Most High. It's only because of the Most High and the power of prayer. But if my husband's heart wasn't in tune to the Most High, then if my husband's heart wasn't in tune, then what? Then who would be our mediator? Who would be the go-between? We need a redo. We do need a redo. We need a redo. Because that was not a good representation of the library of biblical knowledge that is among the Hebrew Israelite women that even I know. I mean, even women in the church. There are women in the church that can divide the word of truth. So I want to encourage my sisters, get in your word, study your word for yourself. Starting on Sunday, we will start from Genesis, running through the Bible in our Bible study group chat. I promise it's not going to be boring, okay? But just this video and some of the questions that have come up from the video, and just some discussions that have come up from this video, have kind of inspired me to like, hey, let's take it to the beginning. Okay. Let's study the Bible so we know exactly what we're talking about here. Because this these questions that we covered to me are just like basic foundational history questions, right? The other part of the Bible is then the practical application of biblical knowledge and wisdom, right? So we want to get all of this when we're reading the Bible, and all that get an understanding. So yes, we want knowledge, but we also want understanding, and we also want to make sure that we are keeping the fruit of the Spirit forward and foremost in everything that we do. Okay. Okay, real quick before I go, just a few fun things to talk to y'all about. Well, not fun. This is not fun. I don't know if y'all seen that movie, The Crash, on Netflix. Y'all need to see it if you have not seen it. And there are about like 4 or 5 other documentary shows on this same case. But the way that this girl is getting famous after she took 2 lives is crazy to me. It makes me hate this day and time of social media. It really does. Because, you know, I lived through the serial killer 90s, and they wasn't really doing it to get famous. It wasn't really a fame thing. But with the advent of social media, 24-hour news cycles, no, just really social media, the murderers are famous. And it's upsetting me and my homegirl because it does not make any sense. It's not like it's a complex case. We all know she was guilty. Why is this girl? So if y'all haven't seen The Crash, check it out. Yeah, it was a good movie. What else do I want to tell y'all? I don't remember. Do not forget, if you need your tickets for F3, where's my thingy? 3mgmusic.com is where you can get your tickets, where you can sign up to be a vendor, where you can sign up to be a sponsor, all of that good stuff for F3, which will be July the 26th. I didn't even introduce myself to y'all. I just kind of jumped into, I was really excited to get to what I had to talk about. Can you tell? I ain't do no intro or nothing. I go by Miss Mono's World in these content creator streets. You can follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the places the content creators be. If you are not on the YouTube, please like, share, subscribe to the YouTube at Meet the Monos. We did change the name. So if you were already subscribed to Monologue McGad, you don't have to do anything. But for the new folks, you want to head over to Meet the Monos on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Help us to grow our channel. We don't want to ask y'all for no money. I don't ask y'all for no money. I mean, for F3, but that's because stuff costs, okay? But when we come here in a ministry capacity, we don't ask y'all for no money. All we ask you to do is please support our channel, support our content. When you see our content out here in these streets, in these internet streets, like, comment, share. Like, share, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It would help us tremendously. Okay, let's see what else. If you would like to donate to the F3 efforts, Again, if you want to sponsor a family, I really suggest you go to the website. Go to the website. But if you're like, hey, I just want to drop something in the Cash App, Cash App $F3 Fest for anything with F3. Okay. I think that's it. Yes. Okay, if you're interested in joining our Bible study group as we get ready to run through the Bible in however long it's going to take. I don't know how long it's going to take. But however long it's going to take. If you're interested in going on this journey with us, please send me a DM on any social TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'll be sure to get it. And I will add you to the group chat. If you have my phone number, shoot me a text message. I will add you to the group chat. I think that's it. Yeah, so I won't see y'all next Wednesday. Hold on, let me get my calendar and make sure. Right now, I'm doing every other Wednesday right now. Okay. So I won't see y'all next Wednesday. That's June the 3rd. I will see y'all on Wednesday, June the 10th. And I'm not saying I won't go live in between times. Me and my husband have been examining our social media, what we're doing with it, how we can change it, to help it grow. Because yes, this is our ministry vehicle. This is what we use for ministry, right? But we want to get it out to as many people as we can. And we want it to grow and to spread and to do what it is supposed to do. Plant a seed or water a seed, but the Most High get the increase. Okay. All right. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me this evening. I hope something that I said was helpful to you, whether you're listening live or on the replay. If you're listening on the replay, go ahead and drop the little replay comment and let me know that you tuned in. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in the conversation. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you for the help with the precepts. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Shalom, shalom, and good night.
Doing things.
Mono.
Living super clean. That it came
One time for my king doing king things. Mommy's hoes cause he know he got a good thing. I
Tune in to Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass with your host, Miss Mono.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono.
Every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. live on YouTube at Miss Mono's World and Monologue Magad. Now also available on the Saya TV on Roku and Fire Stick. Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. Don't miss it, sisters and cousins.